On my daughter's birthday, I hid in the closet to surprise her, but my wife walked in and started recording a video. What she said made my stomach drop. Hey Reddit, so I was squatting in my bedroom closet with a $200 stuffed unicorn when I found out my wife was about to ruin my life. October 20th. My daughter Ella's 6th birthday. I'd been crammed in there for 20 minutes, legs going numb, waiting to jump out when she got home from grandma's. The closet reeked of old gym shoes and dust. I was wedged between winter jackets and those storage bins you swear you'll organize but never touch, feeling ridiculous, but also kind of pumped because Ella had been obsessed with this specific unicorn. Rainbow mane, sparkly horn, the whole deal since summer. I, 34 male, work as a software engineer at a startup in Austin. Pull in about 130,000, which is solid but nothing crazy for tech. Not the kind of money that makes you think your wife would blow up your entire world over it. But apparently I was wrong. Amber and I had been married 8 years. Together 10. Met at a friend's party about 10 years back. One of those rare times where you actually click instead of standing around awkwardly. Married 2 years later at her parents' place in Fredericksburg. Ella showed up about 2 years after that, and honestly, that kid was the best part of my life. Nice house in Pflugerville. Good school. Parks where Ella could ride her bike. I'd been working from home since COVID, so I was around way more than most dads. Figured we had it pretty good. Lately, though, something was off. Amber was glued to her phone, always angling it away when she typed. Started asking weird questions about my pay, my stock options that were vesting soon, whose name was on the house, how our accounts were set up. 2 weeks back, she wanted me to switch my direct deposit to some better joint account she'd just opened, with her as the primary holder for credit building or whatever. She'd been cold, picking fights over nothing. I'd put dishes in the dishwasher wrong and she'd explode. Gym bag in the hall for 5 minutes? World War III. I figured she was stressed. Everyone has bad months. Turns out I was an idiot. Then I heard footsteps. Wrong ones. Not Ella's stampeding elephant run. These were deliberate, adult. The bedroom door opened and Amber walked in. Phone already out. Screen glowing. She didn't check the closet. Didn't look around. Just stopped in front of our bed, aimed the phone at herself, and hit record. Through the gap in the door, I could see everything. The red recording dot. Her face shifting into something I didn't recognize. Timestamp, 3:12 p.m. Okay, she said, voice shaking. I need to document this before I lose my courage. My name is Amber, and I need to tell the truth about my husband. My heart stopped. Just flat out stopped for a second before kicking back into overdrive. Michael has been abusing me for years, she continued. Emotionally, financially, and recently it's gotten physical. I'm scared. I'm terrified. But I have to protect my daughter before it's too late. I'm standing there, crouching there, holding this stupid stuffed unicorn, and my brain can't process what I'm hearing. This has to be a joke, a prank, something. He controls all our money, she said, tears starting. Real tears running down her face. I have no access to our accounts. He monitors everything I do. He tracks my phone, reads my messages, won't let me see my family without his permission. We had joint everything. She had her own credit cards, 2 of them. Saw her mom every Sunday. Had lunch with her sister every week. I'd never tracked her phone or read her texts. Could barely keep up with my own messages. Yesterday, she said, voice cracking, he grabbed my arm so hard he left bruises. She pulled up her sleeve. Even from my angle in the closet, I could see them. Dark purple marks, fresh, angry looking. The kinds that would make anyone say, someone really hurt her. Except I'd never touched her. Not once in 10 years. We'd fought, sure. Normal couple stuff. But I'd never grabbed her. Never pushed her. Never done anything that could leave a mark. I'm recording this because I don't know if I'll survive long enough to tell someone in person, she said, crying harder. If something happens to me, if I disappear or end up in the hospital or worse, please know that Michael did this. Please protect my daughter. Please don't let him get away with this. She hit stop. Recording light blinked off. She stood there, wiped her eyes, took a breath. Then she looked at the screen, frowned, and hit record again. Same performance, different timing on the tears. She watched both versions, picked one, tapped a few times, texted it to someone. Then she left, closed the door. And I was alone with a stuffed unicorn and the realization that my wife had just built a case to destroy me. I stayed in that closet another 5 minutes. My legs were completely dead, but I couldn't move. My wife, married 8 years, mother of my kid, had just recorded fake abuse accusations, made up bruises, created evidence that could torch my career, my reputation, my relationship with Ella. And she'd done it calmly, like she'd planned it. She thought the bedroom was empty. She knew my schedule. Afternoons, I was usually downstairs in my office. She thought she could do this in private. She had no idea I'd come up early to hide like an idiot with birthday presents. If I hadn't been there, I would have been screwed. She could have filed for divorce or called the cops or posted that video, and I would have had zero defense. No warning. No proof she was lying. But I'd seen it. I'd witnessed the whole thing. Now I just had to figure out what to do about it. I waited until I heard her go back downstairs. Heard the TV, some HGTV show she liked. Then I crept out like a burglar in my own house. Left the unicorn on the bed, grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely unlock it. Started recording immediately, capturing everything I could see. I needed proof I was physically present. Went to my office, locked the door, pulled up our shared iCloud account. Amber and I had set it up years back for photos and backups. One of those things you configure once and forget about. I'd used it maybe twice since, but we'd never turned it off. I logged in. Two-factor authentication prompt. Code sent to Amber's phone. Dead end. Tried again. Same thing. Her backup was encrypted with a separate password I didn't know. Device not trusted. Everything locked down behind walls I couldn't crack from my office. But then I remembered the old iPad. Ella's movie tablet that stayed plugged in downstairs. Amber had set it up years ago. Never bothered to log out. Crept downstairs while she was in the kitchen. Grabbed the iPad from the family room. That iPad was already a trusted device on her Apple ID. No prompts, no 2FA. Just her stuff sitting there. iMessage was synced. Not everything, but enough. Message previews, recent conversations, some photos. What I found made me want to puke. Text exchanges with her sister Rebecca. Fragments, but damning. The messages were coded, careful, like they knew better than to spell it out. You still doing the safety plan thing? Rebecca texted Monday. Yeah, got the pics done. They look legit. Don't put too much in writing. Another exchange from last week. Make sure you get everything documented before the makeup needs to be redone. Makeup. The word hit me like a punch to the gut. These weren't real bruises. Someone had created them. My vision blurred. I thought I might actually throw up. This wasn't about fear. Wasn't about safety. This was coordinated, planned, and based on the timing, right before my stock options vested in November, worth about $80,000. It was about money. Kept scrolling through what I could access. Found a text from 2 weeks back. Timing is everything. You don't want to move too early. I know. Waiting until mid-November. Then everything happens at once. They never said divorce or custody directly, but the picture was clear enough. Then I found something worse. A message from October 12th. What about Elle? Think she'll back you up. Working on it. She's 6. Easy to guide. Taking her to see someone next week. See what she picks up. My daughter. They were planning to use my 6-year-old daughter. Get her to repeat things to some therapist who documented as evidence. I couldn't breathe. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. But I needed more. These fragments weren't enough. Too vague. Too deniable. I needed the whole picture. Then I found something in her email preview. Correspondence with someone at a law firm. Subject lines like re-initial consultation and timeline discussion dating back 2 months. Couldn't read the full emails, but the headers told me enough. She'd been talking to a divorce lawyer for months, planning this while I was completely clueless. I also spotted a draft in her Notes app synced to the iPad. Just a title and some bullet points visible in the preview. Help me and my daughter. Goal amounts. Notes about legal fees and relocation costs. The bones of a fundraising page. She was going to wreck me, take my daughter, steal my money, and then crowdfund her new life based on lies. And she'd been planning it for months. But I didn't have the full picture yet. Just pieces. Fragments that could be explained away. I needed everything documented properly, legally, in a way that would hold up in court. That meant I needed professional help. My phone buzzed. Text from Amber. What time are you picking up Ella from your mom's? Party starts at 5. The casual tone. Like everything was fine. Like she hadn't just recorded a video to end my life 20 minutes ago. I stared at that text. The birthday party. Right. Supposed to be celebrating our daughter turning 6. Cake and presents and kids running around. Instead, I was looking at evidence my wife was planning to destroy me. I couldn't pick up Ella. Not yet. Not until I had a plan. Texted back. Running late on a work call. Can you get her? I'll meet you at the house. Fine. One word. No emotion. No questions about what work emergency I'd have on a Friday afternoon. Waited until I heard her car leave. Then started saving everything I could access. Screenshots of message previews. Photos of the notes draft. Email headers. Saved it all in multiple spots. Cloud storage. Physical drives. Emailed copies to 3 different addresses. If this went south, I needed something, even if it wasn't the full picture yet. By the time I finished, it was 4:35. Party in 25 minutes. Had to pull myself together. Had to go downstairs and act normal. Smile and sing happy birthday, while my wife cut cake and played loving mother. Pretend I didn't know my marriage was a lie, and my freedom was on the line. Went to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, looked in the mirror. Looked like someone had kicked me in the stomach, which emotionally they had. Came downstairs. Amber was in the kitchen setting up. Ella was running around the living room in her birthday dress, pink with unicorns, excited and clueless that her mother was planning to use her against me. "Daddy!" she yelled when she saw me, running over to hug my legs. Barely came up to my waist. "When's my surprise? You said I had a surprise?" Knelt down and hugged her. Tried not to show I was breaking inside. "After cake, sweetheart. After cake." She pouted but accepted it. Kids that age trust everything you say. They believe you. Think adults have it all figured out. Amber watched from the kitchen. Expression blank. Neutral. Wondered if she was thinking about her plan? About when she'd file and call the cops and post that video. That night after Ella went to bed, after wrapping paper and leftover cake, after I'd given her the unicorn and watched her face light up, I knew I had to move fast. Couldn't let this play out on Amber's timeline. Couldn't wait for her to file false reports, get a restraining order, take my daughter before I knew what hit me. I needed a lawyer. Immediately. And I needed someone who could properly document everything I'd seen. Went to my office, closed the door, started Googling. Found a family law firm that handled false allegations and parental alienation. Called their emergency line at 10:47 p.m. My attorney called back at 11:23. I told her everything. She cut straight to it. If Amber files first and gets a protective order, I lose access to Ella immediately. Even with proof she's lying, it takes months to fix. And by then the damage is permanent. We needed to preserve everything properly with a forensic examiner, file an emergency petition first, and I had to act completely normal until we did. Meet her tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Bring the iPad, my phone, everything. Write down every detail from today. Don't confront Amber. Don't hint that I know anything. Didn't sleep that night. Just lay there next to Amber, watching her sleep peacefully like nothing was wrong, wondering who I'd been sharing a bed with for 8 years, wondering if anything about us had been real. Around 3 a.m., I got up and went to my office. Started writing everything down like my attorney said. Saturday morning, I told Amber I had a server emergency at work. She barely looked up from her phone. Okay. Didn't ask for details. Didn't offer to help with Ella. Just went back to scrolling. Ella was still asleep. Kissed her forehead before I left. Whispered, "I love you," even though she couldn't hear. My attorney's office was downtown in a high-rise. Glass and steel and expensive furniture. She was waiting in a conference room with the forensic examiner. I'd brought everything. The iPad, my phone, my laptop with the screenshots, printed timeline. They spread it across the conference table. The forensic examiner spent 3 hours on initial extraction. He got enough for an emergency filing that day. Message threads, the key photos with metadata, the notes file. Full pulls on email attachments and browser history took the rest of the week. But even the first batch was worse than the fragments. Rebecca's texts filled in the gaps. Still coded, but unmistakable when you had context. "You still doing the safety plan thing?" Meant, "Are you still going through with the fake abuse scheme?" Got the pics done. They look legit. Was about the bruises. And there was a Venmo payment to someone named Paige for $300, dated October 20th, the same day as Amber's video recording. Make sure you get everything documented before the makeup needs to be redone. Made perfect sense now. Theatrical makeup that needed to be photographed quickly before it smudged or faded. The emails with Amber's divorce attorney were clinical. Her lawyer had mapped out a strategy: document abuse, file protective order, get emergency custody, freeze assets. The email chain referenced maximizing leverage and favorable settlement outcomes. Amber's reply in one email: "I want enough to start over. Enough that I never have to worry again." The notes file was a draft fundraising page. "Help me and my daughter start over." The description was vague: escaping a difficult situation, legal fees, and relocation. But the goal was $50,000, and there were notes about timing. Post after filing. Wait for official documentation. "This is substantial," the forensic examiner said when he finished. The metadata alone tells a story. Payment to Paige on October 20th, same day as the video recording. Draft fundraising page created October 8th, edited October 15th. Email correspondence with counsel beginning August. This was planned for months. Is it enough? I asked my attorney. It's strong circumstantial evidence. The payment to Paige is key. We'll need to identify her and see if she'll cooperate. But even without her testimony, the pattern is clear. We're filing an emergency ex parte motion for temporary custody based on parental alienation and intent to deceive the court. Will it work? We have solid evidence, but family court judges are cautious. They've seen real abuse, real danger. We might get a judge who starts skeptical, wants more proof before acting. This isn't a slam dunk. What are the odds? 60-40 in our favor with what we have now. Better if we can get the makeup artist to confirm. Filed the petition at noon. Emergency hearing scheduled for Monday morning, 9 a.m. The judge assigned to our case is known for being skeptical of fathers in custody disputes, protective of mothers by default, my attorney said. He's going to make us work for it. He'll ask hard questions. He might not grant everything we want on the first hearing, but if our evidence holds, he'll have to act. She explained next steps. We present our evidence. Your wife gets notified Sunday evening, tomorrow night. That gives her minimal time to prepare or retaliate. Judge makes a preliminary ruling on custody pending full trial. And in the meantime, install cameras at every entrance. Doorcam timestamps can save you. Record all interactions. Texas is one-party consent. You don't need her permission. And avoid being alone with her anywhere without cameras or witnesses. If she's desperate enough to fake bruises, she might try to create a real situation where she can call the cops. That hadn't even occurred to me. My wife might actually try to provoke something she could document. Went home Saturday afternoon and pretended everything was normal. Helped make dinner. Played with Ella. Recorded everything on my phone. Voice memos running constantly in my pocket. Sunday morning, Amber said she had a headache and needed rest. Took her phone and locked herself in our bedroom for 3 hours. Knew what she was doing, preparing. Coordinating with Rebecca and her attorney. Maybe filing her own reports to get ahead of whatever she thought I might do. At 6 p.m. Sunday, my attorney texted, "She's been served. Process server got her at her sister's house an hour ago." I was in the kitchen making Ella a snack when Amber came through the front door. Papers in hand, face pale. She stood there staring at me. "What is this, Michael?" Kept my voice calm. Remembered I was recording. "Emergency custody hearing. Tomorrow morning. You're trying to take Ella from me?" Voice rising. "I'm trying to protect her." "Protect her from what? From me being a good mother?" "You're insane." She was reaching for her phone, probably to call her lawyer. "Just so you know," I said carefully, "anything you say right now could be used in court tomorrow. You might want to talk to your attorney before saying anything else." Her hand froze. She stared at me, and for the first time I saw real fear. She realized I knew something. Maybe not everything, but enough to file for emergency custody. Enough to be a threat. "I have documentation, Amber," I said quietly, "of things you've planned. You should talk to your attorney." Her face went white, then red, then white again. "You went through my things? You violated my privacy? I accessed devices we share? Family iPad, shared accounts." My attorney confirmed what I could legally access. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. "I can't talk to you right now," she finally said. "I'm calling my lawyer." Went upstairs. Heard our bedroom door slam. Heard her voice through the walls, angry and panicked, talking to her lawyer. Texted my attorney. "She knows. She's calling her lawyer." She replied immediately. "Good. Let her panic. Panic makes people sloppy. Record everything. See you tomorrow at 8:30. Monday morning, I put on my best suit. Navy blue, white shirt, red tie. Armor for court. Amber was already dressed when I came downstairs. Cream blouse, black pants. We didn't speak. My mom picked up Ella at 7:30. Held on to her maybe a second too long when she hugged me goodbye. Courthouse was downtown. Old building, wood paneling, fluorescent lights. Smelled like coffee and stress. Amber was there with her attorney. The lawyer looked expensive. Designer suit, perfect hair. The kind of attorney who charges $600 an hour. We walked into the courtroom. The judge presiding was 62, according to my attorney's briefing. Known for being thorough and skeptical of both sides. Not the sympathetic judge we'd hoped for. The judge looked over his glasses at both parties. "This is an emergency petition. I'm going to need compelling evidence to take emergency action. Counsel, proceed." My attorney stood. "Your Honor, we have extensive documentation showing the respondent has been manufacturing false evidence of domestic abuse and preparing to coach the minor child to make false statements against her father. We're asking for emergency temporary custody." Amber's attorney countered, "Your Honor, this is a retaliatory filing by a husband who illegally accessed his wife's private communications. My client is a victim of abuse seeking to protect herself and her daughter." The judge's expression was unreadable. "Let's see the evidence." "And counselor," he looked at my attorney, "I'll want to hear about how this evidence was obtained." My attorney connected her laptop to the courtroom display. The cable didn't work at first. Clerk had to find a different adapter while everyone waited. As if I needed this kind of stress right now. First exhibit, video recorded by the respondent on October 20th, the day of the minor child's birthday. The petitioner witnessed this recording from the bedroom closet where he was hiding to surprise his daughter with a birthday gift. He was physically present in the shared marital bedroom. She played it. Amber's voice filled the courtroom. My name is Amber, and I need to tell the truth about my husband. Michael has been abusing me for years. Watched Amber's face. She'd gone pale. Video continued. Amber showing bruises, crying about fear, about protecting Ella. The judge watched without expression. When it finished, he looked at Amber. Were you aware your husband was present when you recorded this? No, Your Honor. I thought I was alone. And are the statements in this video accurate? Amber's attorney jumped in. Your Honor, my client was documenting her genuine fear. I asked the respondent directly. Amber hesitated. I was scared. I was trying to protect myself. That's not what I asked. Did your husband physically abuse you as stated in this video? Longer pause. I felt threatened. The judge made a note. Didn't push further, but I could see he'd noticed she hadn't said yes. My attorney walked him through the rest. Forensic extraction from the shared iPad. The Venmo payment to Paige. $300, same day as the video. Text exchanges with Rebecca about getting the pics done and making sure everything was documented before the makeup needs to be redone. Email headers showing months of planning with a divorce attorney. The fundraising draft. Amber's lawyer objected to basically oxygen, but the judge let most of it in. Then my attorney pulled up the October 12th exchange about Ella. What about Elle? Think she'll back you up? Working on it. She's 6. Easy to guide. Your Honor, this suggests intent to coach the minor child to make statements against her father. This is parental alienation in planning stages. Amber's attorney's face tightened. Your Honor, my client was discussing her daughter's well-being by calling her easy to guide? The judge's tone sharpened for the first time. Counsel, that language is troubling regardless of context. Finally, the judge held up his hand. I've seen enough for a preliminary determination. He looked at both parties. I'm troubled by what I've seen. The timing of these messages, the payment to a makeup artist on the same day as the video, the discussion of guiding your daughter. This pattern suggests potential fabrication. Amber started crying. Her lawyer put a hand on her arm. However, the judge continued, I'm not prepared to make a final determination on manufactured evidence without testimony from this page and a full evidentiary hearing. The messages are suggestive but not conclusive. My heart sank. That said, the discussion about coaching the minor child is what concerns me most. Easy to guide. That language alone is enough for me to act. Regardless of whether the abuse allegations are true or fabricated, I will not allow a child to be manipulated as a litigation tool. He looked at me. I'm granting a modified version of your emergency petition based primarily on the child welfare concerns. Joint legal custody remains in place. Physical custody is temporarily awarded to you pending full trial. The respondent will have supervised visitation, 3 hours twice per week at a court-approved facility. Not everything we'd asked for, but Ella was safe. Furthermore, both parties are ordered to refrain from discussing this case with the minor child. Any attempt to influence the child's perception of either parent will be treated severely. He looked at Amber. I'm not making a finding of fraud today, but I am ordering you to preserve all communications and evidence. Destruction of evidence will result in sanctions. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Full trial is scheduled for December 15th. I expect both parties to come prepared with complete documentation and witness testimony. Gavel came down. We'd won something. Not everything, but something. That was better than I expected, my attorney said as we left the courthouse. He's cautious, but he saw enough to protect Ella. Now we need that makeup artist. Tracking down Paige wasn't easy. She didn't respond to our initial outreach. My attorney had to subpoena her. When the forensic examiner and I met her at my attorney's office 2 weeks before trial, she was defensive. I'm not getting dragged into your divorce, she said. I provide theatrical makeup services. That's all. You've been subpoenaed, my attorney said calmly. You can answer questions here voluntarily, or you can answer them in court under oath. Your choice. Paige looked between us. What exactly do you want to know? Did you provide makeup services to Amber on October 20th? Long pause. Yes. What kind of services? She said it was for a theater production. Something about domestic violence awareness. She wanted realistic bruises for promotional photos. Did she tell you who the photos would be used against? No. She said it was for awareness. I had no idea. Paige's voice cracked. I had no idea she was going to use them to accuse someone of actual abuse. When I saw the subpoena, I almost threw up. I could be implicated in fraud. You're not the target here, my attorney said. But we need you to testify about what services you provided and what she told you. She agreed. Not enthusiastically, but she agreed. She'd confirm the facts. Theatrical makeup, bruise simulation, payment. She'd testify that Amber told her it was for awareness. My attorney also got Ella into counseling with a child therapist who specialized in custody disputes. Court appointed, reports going directly to the judge and both attorneys. After 4 sessions, my attorney forwarded the therapist's preliminary report. The therapist flagged concerning coached language, she said. Ella's been making the girl doll say things like, "Daddy made mommy sad" during play therapy. When asked to explain, she can't provide context, just repeats phrases. So Amber's trying to coach her even now? Despite court orders. The therapist is documenting everything for the court. But here's the good news. Ella's attachment to you is secure. The coaching isn't taking hold. November dragged. My attorney kept building. We deposed Rebecca, who was nervous and contradictory under oath. Couldn't keep her story straight about what safety plan meant or why they'd discussed timing around my stock option. The stock options themselves became another complication. They vested on November 15th as scheduled, $80,000 worth. My attorney had them placed in a separate escrow account pending the outcome of the divorce proceedings, keeping them from becoming a point of contention during the custody trial. Amber's lawyer tried to argue they were marital assets that should be frozen or split immediately, but the judge ruled they'd be addressed during asset division, after custody was resolved. The forensic documentation was thorough. The examiner had preserved chain of custody, documented every timestamp and metadata tag, produced sworn affidavits on every extraction. Amber's lawyer filed motions claiming illegal access to Amber's communications. My attorney countered with documentation showing the iPad was a shared family device, never logged out. The iCloud account was jointly created. Everything was legally obtained. By trial day, December 15th, I was exhausted. Nearly 8 weeks of single parenting, watching Ella struggle with confusion, preparing for a fight that could still go either way. Trial took 3 days. Day 1, opening statements. My attorney laid out our case with precision. This is about a pattern of deception. We will show that the respondent paid a makeup artist to create fake bruises, coordinated with her sister to manufacture evidence, planned the timing around financial events, and discussed coaching her 6-year-old daughter to make statements against her father. This wasn't protection. This was a scheme. Amber's attorney countered with a narrative of desperation. Amber felt trapped, unsupported, saw no other way to be believed. Her methods were imperfect, but her fear was real. Day 2. Our evidence. My attorney called me first, testified about hiding in the closet, watching Amber record the video, the discovery process afterward. Amber's lawyer cross-examined hard. Isn't it true you monitored your wife's communications without her knowledge? I accessed a shared family iPad that was logged into accounts we set up together. Isn't it true you hired a forensic specialist specifically to dig through her private messages? I hired a specialist to properly document evidence of fraud being planned against me. She tried for an hour to paint me as controlling, surveilling, invading privacy. I stayed calm and factual. My attorney had prepped me well. My attorney called the forensic examiner next. He wasn't a cop or a hacker or whatever people imagine, just a guy in a polo shirt with a binder full of exhibits. He walked through the forensic analysis, timestamps, metadata, chain of custody, how he preserved the data the boring legal way. Methodical and devastating precisely because it was so dry. Paige testified third. Nervous, but she held up. I provided theatrical makeup services to Amber on October 20th. She told me it was for a domestic violence awareness project. She wanted bruises that looked realistic. I created them using stage makeup techniques. She showed comparison photos, the bruises in Amber's video, next to samples of her work. Same techniques. I had no idea she planned to use them to accuse her husband of abuse. If I had known, I never would have done it. Amber's lawyer tried to undermine her. Isn't it possible you're misremembering? I remember clearly. She said awareness. She said theater. She didn't say anything about accusing anyone of real abuse. The child therapist testified about Ella's counseling sessions, the coached phrases, the evidence of ongoing attempts at parental alienation despite court order. The respondent has repeatedly used visitation time to influence her daughter's perception of her father. This constitutes emotional manipulation of a minor child. Day 3. Amber's turn. Her attorney put her on the stand. She testified about feeling trapped, about fearing me, about doing what she thought was necessary to protect herself and Ella. Then my attorney cross-examined. You testified you feared your husband, yet in your text with your sister, you discussed timing the divorce around his stock option vesting date. Why would someone in fear be focused on financial timing? I needed to make sure I could support myself and my daughter. You texted about your daughter being easy to guide. What did you mean by that? Amber looked at her attorney. Her lawyer nodded slightly. I meant she's young. I was worried about how this would affect her. But you weren't worried about affecting her yourself? By coaching her to say things against her father? I never coached her. My attorney pulled up the therapist's testimony about the phrases Ella repeated. The therapist documented your daughter saying daddy made mommy sad during session. Phrases she couldn't explain or provide context for. How did she learn to say those things? Children pick up on tension. Your text said you were working on it. Working on what exactly? Amber's composure cracked. I was trying to help her understand. Understand what? That you wanted her to say things against her father? That's not. I didn't. Amber's lawyer objected. Counsel is badgering the witness. The judge overruled. The witness may answer. Amber looked at the courtroom, at me, at her hands. I was scared, she finally said. I didn't think anyone would believe me without proof. So you created proof, fake proof. Is that correct? Long silence. I was documenting my experience. Your experience of bruises that a makeup artist created? I don't. That's not. She looked at her attorney. I felt like I needed proof of what I was going through, but the bruises weren't real. The fear was real. My attorney let that hang, then pulled up the text about getting the pics done, dated October 20th. You paid Paige $300 on October 20th, the same day you recorded the video. What was that payment for? I don't recall. You don't recall paying someone $300 2 months ago? It could have been for anything. Paige testified it was for theatrical makeup, bruise simulation. Do you dispute her testimony? Amber's attorney objected. Asked and answered. Withdrawn. My attorney moved on. The argument you mentioned earlier, when did that happen? Amber hesitated. I don't remember exactly. Before or after October 20th? Before, I think. But the bruises in your video were created by a makeup artist on October 20th, so those weren't from the argument. Amber didn't answer. Her attorney tried to interject, but the silence had already said everything. No further question. Amber's lawyer tried to recover on redirect. Amber stuck to her story, scared, desperate, trying to protect herself. But she'd contradicted herself 3 times. Couldn't explain the payment, couldn't explain the timing. The texts and Paige's testimony filled in what she wouldn't say. Closing arguments. My attorney laid out the timeline. Planning beginning in August, makeup artist on October 20th, video recording same day, coaching attempts, fundraising drafts, a systematic scheme to steal custody and money through fraud. Amber's lawyer argued desperation, fear, a woman who made bad choices, but didn't deserve to lose her daughter. The judge didn't do the TV thing where everyone gasps and the camera zooms. He just took notes, asked a couple questions that made Amber's attorney go tight around the eyes, then told us to come back after lunch. When he returned, he didn't hedge. He ruled from the bench. In this matter, this court finds that Amber made knowingly false statements, attempted to manufacture evidence, and engaged in conduct harmful to the child's best interest. The court orders sole legal and physical custody to Michael. Amber is granted supervised visitation, 2 hours per week. Sat there trying to feel victorious. Ella was safe. That was what mattered. Caught her outside the courthouse, near the exit. I was heading toward the parking garage when I heard my name. Quiet. Almost swallowed by the wind. Turned around. Amber was standing there, maybe 20 feet away. Her expensive attorney was gone. Rebecca wasn't with her. Just Amber. Alone on the courthouse steps, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her eyes were swollen. Mascara wrecked. Hands shaking at her sides. She walked toward me slowly, like she wasn't sure her legs would hold. For a second, just a second, she almost looked human again. Michael, her voice cracked. I ruined everything. I didn't say anything, just stood there, waiting. She got closer. Close enough that I could see how hard she was trying to hold it together. Please, she said. Please don't tell people. Don't put this out there. I can't. She stopped, pressed a hand to her mouth like she was going to be sick. I can't have everyone know. There it was. Not sorry for what she did. Sorry it came out. I shouldn't have let it go that far, she continued, tears spilling over. Rebecca kept pushing, and I got scared, and I listened to the wrong people, and I never thought you'd actually fight back. Never thought I'd fight back. Like that was the problem. Like I was supposed to just roll over and let her destroy me. I still didn't respond. She must have taken my silence as an opening. You were never home, Michael. Not really. Even when you were there, you were somewhere else. In your head. On your phone. You made me feel so alone in that marriage. Stop. One word. She flinched like I'd slapped her. You didn't want out, I said, voice flat. You wanted a story where I couldn't defend myself. Her face crumpled. More tears. Ugly crying now. The kind that makes your whole face twist up. That's not... I never wanted to hurt you. You wanted my money. You wanted my daughter. You wanted to burn my name to the ground and fundraise off the ashes. She's my daughter too. The grief snapped into anger that fast. You think you're better than me? You think some judge saying words makes you father of the year? When she's older, I'll tell her everything. I'll tell her what you did to me, what you really are. And there it was, the mask slipping, still trying to weaponize Ella. Even now, even after everything. I looked at her, really looked. 8 years of marriage, 10 years together. And I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just done. All communication goes through the parenting app, I said. Or through attorneys. That's it. She started to say something else. I didn't hear it. I was already walking away. Pulled out my phone. Called my mom. Hey, yeah, it's over. I'm on my way to pick up Ella now. 20 minutes. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Some people want closure. I just wanted my kid buckled into her car seat and away from all of this. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.